Hello everyone, it's Friday night, it's 7 o'clock, and it's time for the Weekender once more. We've another packed show filled with all the gaming goodness from across the industry that's caught our eye over the last 7 days. On top of that, we also have a prize from store.ontabletop.com if you want to be in with a chance to win the Age of Sigmar Flesh Eater Court Army set. Then you need to go over to OnTabletop, pop a comment below the video there, and be lucky. Are you lucky? Let's find out. Otherwise, sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello everyone and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined this week by Ben, Brother Lloyd, and tiny little Shay. He's so young.
Hello.
So young. I'm wearing pants older than Shay. Anyway, we're here to bring you all the gaming goodness from the last 7 days because we know you love it. You love it. Just like you love me. And we're going to kick things off a little bit differently. We've been talking about Dungeonlia. Mm-hmm. We thought we'd extol the virtues of people doing the old Dungeonlia maneuver.
Yes. Yeah.
So you may or may not be aware of Dungeonlia. Mm-hmm. If you're not aware, I'm assuming this is your first time here. Hello. Pleased to meet your acquaintance. We are midway through our campaign to get people to create epic dungeons and adventures, where you two can win big money prizes.
Oh, yes.
Like
I wouldn't say we're midway through. We're kind of still mostly at the start.
It does go all the way to March. So
no, it goes to the 1st of March.
1st of March, I suppose, yeah.
So, we're midway through. We're I think there's 8 weeks left and we've done 8 weeks.
Oh.
I've used quick math. This one out. But if you have not been over to the OnTabletop site before and you want to get involved, there's a little rundown of how you can do so by virtue of creating a free account and then going to the project system and just getting stuck in. You can do anything you want, dungeon adjacent, and there is the possibility to lay your hands on a massive prize of a huge laser cutter, which will allow you to create bigger dungeons and better dungeons in the future, and also cheap laser eye surgery for your family and friends. If you charge people 50 quid a time,
don't do that.
Then it'll cover the cost of your materials for whenever you're looking to make your own dungeon.
Don't do that.
Represent the
100% do that.
Don't do that.
But I don't see any warning saying you're not to do it. And I imagine there'd be big branding all around it going, don't do that.
That's what that booth's for. It's basically saying don't do that.
Don't use it.
So we're looking at the categories here. Go back up 2 seconds, go back up. So that's our first category there. That's for building epic dungeons?
3D dungeons, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're building stuff with MDF or you're building stuff out of resin or plastic or whatever things you've got laying around the house, that is your category there. So
like a Wumble.
Yeah, if you're one of those foam builders, you should get stuck right into this.
Yeah,
definitely. You'd clean up.
Look
I see you all in your Facebook sticking foam together like there's no tomorrow.
Everybody loves foam.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's taking people so long to get back involved with foam. People got distracted by 3D printing, but that's a fly-by-night fad. It'll be gone soon. We'll all be back on the foam front. Your Dungeony Architects, that is just for the designings. So
doodling and designing and everything else.
2D.
Yeah.
You can be as comprehensive as you want. You could just do your design, illustrate it, move on with your life. You could lay in your traps and places of interest for people to go and explore.
Or you just build your dungeon in 2 dimensions and you'll fall in that category as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Easily done.
So if you draw out a big massive dungeon on paper, you'd fall into that. Even if you're using some not 3D software, some planning software, you'd fall into the 2D dungeon category.
Yep. Very much so.
And a dungeon master master of puppets, pulling your strings.
This is if you're designing stories and adventures. If you're going to be writing out encounters for people to dive into, this is the kind of category that you want to dive in and have some fun with. So maybe if you're running a campaign at the moment, like I am, and you want to sort of use that as a starting point for a project, so you can kind of bookkeep everything, that's a good way of doing things. Or if you just want to get some feedback on a particular adventure, that's another good way of playing around with stuff as well.
I just noticed this guy here who appears to be blowing out his cheeks and looking off into the middle distance as if to say, what has that guy over there just done? It's we're stealthing in, and then he's gone, I'm going to unleash my flaming greased vampire pig. And he's just gone.
I cast fireball.
Yes.
Bloody bards and wizards. We have our dungeon heroes.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to put together an adventuring party, be that classical fantasy types or something more esoteric. Get your Call of Cthulhu adventurers into that dungeon and watch them all be murdered horribly by a blasphemous beast with more limbs than eyes, and they've got more eyes than more people have ribs. That's just
I would say this is the easiest category to get involved with. Everybody's got dungeon heroes and stuff they haven't painted yet sitting in boxes.
I have a bag of them in my drawer.
Point proven. And as we're going here, you'll see every category has an awesome prize to go with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, loads of different things from lots of different companies, which have all been very nicely added into the mix for this. Loads and loads of plastic and resin and everything else between for people to dive in and pick up, which is always cool. And all the bits and pieces to actually start playing adventures as well, with the stuff from Loke and everything else there. So, yeah, paint some heroes, paint some monsters. You've probably got a couple of monsters lying around that you've maybe been using for war games that could also be fitted into something dungeon based, or maybe some sci-fi aliens as well. We're not limiting it by genre. So, yeah.
Remember, humanity is the greatest monster of all. So
maybe you want to make a group of heroes who are monsters going up against the evil humans that are
League of Infamy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all the evil.
Very nice.
Yeah, and you know why they're all called evil? It's because there's terrible racist elves have won the propaganda war, and that's why they have to go in and steal all their stuff. That's a hell of a load of stuff there from Fat Dragon and
there's more that doesn't even fit into that picture.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shocking stuff. And our teeniest and tiniest, the Otter Pups, the Dungeon Younglings. If you've got kids, what age is it capped at? 14?
Yeah. 14. Yeah.
14 or below. You two.
This is the one I'm going for because my missus says I identify as 4, so I'm going to enter this one.
Makes sense.
She's like, you're a giant 4-year-old, and I was like, Dungeonlia for me then? Into the youngling category.
Perfect.
I can win myself a super box of Hero Quest.
Yeah.
The best dungeon game. I don't care what anyone says. The best dungeon game.
Nope, no, I won't get involved in that question. But yeah,
it's simple enough and interesting enough, especially for kids, and it smells great when you open it.
The new box smell is one of the best things, of course. Yeah.
I'm not so sure about the new one. I haven't smelt the new one, but the old one, smelled amazing. You missed out on that, Shay, because you're too young.
Far too young.
Thanks.
Far too young.
Hear it.
That's a smell older than you.
That is very much a smell older than Shay. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can win throughout all the categories. And I mean, depending on what goes into your project, you may find that you're actually thrown into multiple categories as well, which is always good. And, you know, if you've got kids kicking around, hook them while they're young, like smoking.
Yeah, so just to recap, you come on over to OnTableTop, get a free account, make a project for free, whack in your dungeon stuff into the project system. It's a bit like a Facebooky sort of thing where you log what you're doing. If you're creating a category, pick the little drop down. There's a little drop down that allows you to then say, oh, it's part of this competition. And then we can see you. And we can see your work. And everyone can see your work. And if we're amazed, you might win. Look at this.
Speaking of amaze, here's one of the entries currently by the medium of Hutch,
who always does amazing stuff. So
no trial for scale this time, so we can't really tell exactly how big it is.
No, this could be 1-to-1. We never know.
That's true.
Where do you get all the little boxes from? That's cool.
They're all laser cut. We're using one of those laser eye things.
Don't do that.
But this is a really good example of what sort of things you can throw in there. So you can go hog with the images, explaining what's going on. You can put in big blocks of text. This actually started off as a Victorian sci-fi idea, and then I wouldn't say got out of hand, but went in a different direction.
Oh, this is more of an Egyptian-looking thing, is it?
Yeah, he said that as well. You're both wrong, because as anybody knows, those are Lamassu, which are not from Egypt. They're from Asia Minor. Yeah, that ilk, but not just restricted there. So yeah, Lamassu and Sphinx both got wings, not the same thing.
You too can learn in Dungeonlia.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Look, a swingy wall. That's cool.
Yeah, secret door. And I mean, this one shows up some absolutely corking stuff because it's all based off the idea of recreating a game that he really enjoys playing from Ravensburger called Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So all of these various boxes that have been put together come via the medium of this little... All that's missing is a mummy, by the way.
Yes.
Just saying in black and white, just creeping through the corridors. But yeah, the idea was, let's do this, but bigger.
But on a bigger scale. Yeah.
And you two can have a shifting labyrinth. That means that it's, things move around and...
Scroll back up.
Yes.
Keep talking while you scroll.
Okay, then. So yeah, the labyrinth board allows you to keep shifting bits and pieces around, which means you can either have it as...
Are those lids to keep it hidden? Is it like a hidden reveal that you can adventure through the dungeon and reveal it as you go and not know what you're going to see?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
That's why the little holes are in the top to hook it out and everything. Yeah.
Because the setup, I think it's a 5x5 in the end, although it may not be finished yet. Because everything fits everything. Some corridors may find the end and dead end. Some corridors may only be accessible by those little hidden passages and stuff that we've seen earlier. But it means every time that you go dungeon exploring, you don't know what you're going to be seeing until you actually go through that door.
So cool.
And that's when you walk. That's when you run through the door being chased by the mummy to discover that it ends in a dead end, and dead being the operative word. So yeah, the work that Hutch has been putting in on this is absolutely corking. And look, foam. See, get thee behind me 3D print.
Oh, that's actual blue foam.
Yeah, it's blue foam.
I thought he highlighted all that blue in Photoshop for some sort of illustration.
No. No, there's a gorgeous picture. Just so you maybe go back up. I'm gonna have to go back down again.
Look at that!
Of the foam being dealt with, but my own personal favorite is, and the boxes are there obviously to square everything off and to add the magnets so that it's rigid when you're playing with it. But it's when he has the stack of blue. There you go.
Oh, I wish I had that much XPS.
I wish I had any XPS.
Yeah.
I've got some, you can't have any.
Oh.
I will say, even though he's decided not to go with the original idea of the Victorian sci-fi on Mars, the history that he set up in advance is just great. And that's all. There's a little mini battle report in there as well, where Hutch explains why they were running into that Martian mine, and then it went, let's do it slightly differently.
Very nice.
Apropos of nothing at all, but that is just one of our projects.
Yeah, you can see even more of them as well. They're all sort of highlighted on the front page of OnTableTop, so if you want to go and check those out, see what other people are doing, maybe get some ideas for your own projects.
Gain some inspiration, steal some ideas, steal somebody's idea, do it better, win the prize, then dance around them, flicking metaphorical Vs. It's all good. It's all good in the head. Right. Anyway, enough Dungeoniliaing. It's time to take a look at our Indie of the Week. And this week, we're going a bit Acid House. Acid. It's all gone a bit, I was going to say 70s, but technically 80s for Acid House. Technically. Now, I think the best way to illustrate this is for me to show you it in the studio. So over to me. Hello. It's exciting, me being in here as well as being out there at home. Strange, isn't it? I know, I'm very strange. However, I've got a whole table full of strange to show you. I've got a 6x4 from Acid House Terrain. This is their portable fantasy table. And as you can see, it fills a table, but it also fits inside this teeny tiny little box. So, fascinating stuff. The fantasy setup that we have here shows most of what you get in the box. We'll come back to a couple of things that we haven't shown here at the end. But the idea behind it is you can make a 6x4 or a 3x3 or a 4x4, whatever you want to do. And you've got a couple of different options within the set itself. So you can have your rural outside type with your fir trees and your delightful little cottages with a variety of blue slate and red clay tiles, which is always nice. You've got your castle walls, your fortifications, and also some buildings for the internals as well. So the towers, the wall sections are accompanied also by runed versions of same. So we've got 3 runed walls and a runed tower section here as well. And all of the stuff is very simple to build. It's generally 2 pieces. So you have a internal structure. I want to pop that out. You just have to fold across the lines, fold on the lines again, and pop one inside the other. And your pop-up building is ready for the tabletop, he said, not being able to fold that back into the corner correctly because I'm cack-handed and my glasses don't let me. There we go. Anyway, so you can see here we have some runed temples. We have things like my little stair setup that comes onto this elevated section. So you could just have that for executions, weddings and funerals. I do like the big runed temple section on it though. It's a really nice design. As you can see, everything is made from a satin finished card, which means it's both cleanable if you happen to spill things, but also dry wipeable if you want to draw things on with a overhead projector pen, like some of the kids do these days. It gives you a lot of height variations as well. You can see there are little wooden ladders that you can drop in, or little wooden bridges as well that allow you to extend where you play from. So you don't have to start off on the ground floor. You can work your way up, or you can run across the ladder on the top. Some of the other little features that came in this set, we'll start with this, which is possibly the smallest piece, but one of my favorites. It's a little tiny water fountain for kids to drink at. However, it also has, in a town monument style, what appears to be the Kickstarter backers up the 2 sides. So we have them there, and we have more of them there. And I think that's a beautiful feature for nothing at all, apropos of nothing. With our cottages, as you can see, they've a decent footprint on them, and most of them have got a roughly 25mm sort of grid on things like the flagstones. These, he said, can be popped off so you can play inside them. And again, the interiors are all detailed, so there are accesses to the basement. There's even a fireplace in the corner, all held on via the medium of folds, like a origami ninja. I'm not going to do that. I'll do this though. So there are a couple of other things, like I said, we haven't seen here. If I grab the barracks and take my little ladder away so people can't get up on the roof, there are actually several additional floor sections for various buildings, including the barracks. So if you want, you can actually go ahead and set up the buildings from the compound. Oh, I'm going to make a hames of that one as well, I think. You get the idea. You can set up the buildings from inside our fortification there to also have floor levels that will allow you to play in them as well without having to hop in, hop out. Obviously, crease your cardboard a bit better. The last thing is this lovely internal board section for we're using it for our city streets. This also comes in the set, and that is half of it, because the other half is with me here. And as you can see, it's actually double-sided. So you can have it set up as a verdant outside. Again, that's satin finish, so nice level of detail on it. And then your grids are actually all indexed on there. So if you happen to be using this for RPGs, my tongue blacking and full out of my head, you've got your grid on there. Or if you just want to play in your city, then you've got that as well. And they come with little connectors. Now, there are a set way for these city grids to line up so that you actually get the internals to match. So, for example, that one would not be a good way to do it, where you have cobbles appearing in a house or a house appearing in the middle of a street. I'm not sure which. But there is enough of those to give you a 4x4. And this is like I say, the fantasy gaming set. However, this is the 4x4 version. There's another version which comes in with more of same. In fact, if I spin that, John, you might be able to see we've got this. However, if you want to fill a 6x4, they suggest this one. But as you can see, we've actually filled a 6x4 already with a very decent amount of terrain on there, be it forests, temples, ruins, or fortress walls. So it's a little glimpse into the world of pop-up terrain and, I suppose, origami scenery. Back over to me on the Weekender. There we go. Thank you very much, me. So I do keep referring to it as pop-up terrain. Technically, it's not pop-up terrain. Technically, it's just quick build, I suppose.
Quick build. I like that.
Quick build. But the fantasy setup that you see there is one of the most recent. They have 2 other ranges. So we'll have a wee nosy through the other bits and pieces. But it shows just how quickly you can get a really effective looking table down.
Oh, I love this stuff. Yeah.
And the fact that it all condenses back into that box now. Myself and Shay put the fantasy board together in 20 minutes, maybe?
Less than that. 10, 15?
There was a lot of us going, what part goes with this? Because it was the first time we'd done it. But then it can be collapsed back into the big box afterwards. And that was collapsed back in just under 10 minutes. So having a 6x4 that you can stick in a box and slide under your bed is great. And it looks really effective. But like I say, there is other stuff available. This is their upcoming cyberpunk one.
Ooh.
We've been looking at a bit of cyberpunk recently with the likes of Codeblade. And the nice thing about the Acid House terrain is it has the really nice texturing on it. So you're not just left going, I've got a really nice set of terrain that I've got to paint and then store. You can go, well, I've got a really nice set of terrain that I can now just slam down on the table and then move on with my life. And when I'm finished, put it all away again. And I think that the cyberpunk, the evocative colors of everything, it's full on. It's what I expect to see with the sort of neon noir of a cyberpunk backdrop, whether you're playing, in this case, there's some House Escher gangers from the proper version of Commander, or, Hint or Codeblade or whatever else you want
Infinity,
to play out there. Infinity. Yeah, well, very good for Infinity. But just having the ability to put down not just a quick range of terrain, but terrain that has got height, depth, the walkways and the like, so you can run between levels. It's not just a flat board that you're playing on, and has some really, gorgeous looking bits and pieces on it. There's the metro going down, deeper and down.
It creates some really nice illusions, which I think is good because you get the sense of depth in the artwork there. So even though it's not interactive in that sense, I think there's enough presented there to make it feel like you're actually in something a lot more detailed than it actually is, if you know what I mean. I think it's really cool. So,
and the fact that the stuff is square means that you've got a lot of modularity when it comes to stacking bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere, whether it's a rune temple on top of a little elevated area or smaller little cubes on top of bigger buildings so that you can get your sniper positions or get ready to jump down on top of somebody's head like in Judge Dredd, which is always good. And I like the fact that they add the incidental pieces in. So you've got like your bits of barricades and stuff, barriers with the fantasy one. There's all those little tree sections that you can just kind of fold whatever way you want, just to start breaking up line of sight, which is always neat.
And anything that makes tabletop building of terrain easier, but also looking nice at the same time, I think is just a big plus. Like stuff like what we're seeing here from Acid House and the stuff that like battle systems creating and all that kind of thing, I think is just all good. But
yeah, depending on the game you play as well, obviously we looked at technically it was a 4x4 fantasy board we looked at, even though we filled a 6x4 with it. The only real thing that limited that was if you don't have a mat, it includes enough board sections to do a 4x4 in the box.
Oh, okay.
But they do other size boxes. So if you're constantly playing a game that only plays out on a 2x2 or 2x3 or whatever it is, there's smaller entry points. You don't have to pick up everything.
Right.
Although I do really like the whole aesthetic as a thing anyway. I really like the names on some of the buildings as well. There's one that says Scott Brown, and I can't work out if that's a Back to the Future reference.
How do you know it says Scott Brown if it's in Japanese or Chinese?
Oh, no, it said Scott Brown in English. That's how I knew. Because I don't read any of the Japanese languages.
Hiding a secret that he actually
no, none of those. But as you can see, these are currently up for pre-order. But there's a
very nice
for what's that, €60. You can get a 2x2.5 set, and whenever they sell them, it's the same form factors within them, but the amount you get, as they call it, volume. So a 4x4 is 100%, a 6x4 would be 150% of the bits and pieces within there. So you may find that you get less of some buildings and more of others, depending on whether you're going up or down. I want to find the Great Scott picture again, because it's like it's a big green, you can't miss it really. And obviously Doc Brown says Great Scott all the time.
Great Scott.
No, I'm not going to find it. I'm going to have to give it up as a bad job. It's going to annoy me though. It will annoy me.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. So that's the cyberpunk, but there's also sci-fi. Where's our sci-fi live? I reckon it's the first one. Oh no, damn! I went too far. I hit the past. But again, for Infinity, for 40K, Dead Zone, Firefight,
all sorts of different
whatever
things,
you want, really. You've got the whole kit and caboodle in here with a very sort of industrial.
Well, the sci-fi one and the cyberpunk one, you could just mix and match in together.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, so you could go from your industrial heartland into your downtown neon city center. Look, people from a game I don't recognize. That's a shame.
It's very
Mechanicus.
It's very similar to sort of the Infinity Train that they were doing in their box sets.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
But
you get in the Code 1 boxes and things.
Yeah, but these have the added benefit of folding down, folding up very quickly, and having a nice rigid structure to them. And as you can see there, it's a hefty thing. I believe a long time ago, myself and Justin did a time-lapse video showing us setting up a board's worth of this.
Quite possibly.
I have recollection of it. I remember it. I remember me going, it'd be great if we set up a camera and did a time-lapse of us setting this up. Cue 20 minutes of us trying to work out how to assemble a box. Just going, it's only 2 parts. One part fits inside the other part. This isn't that difficult. Was for us.
You know what this might be useful for, and we'll probably talk about it later in the show. It might be useful for Mantic's new Halo game. Depending on how it plays, which we'll get into when we get there.
Yeah. But yeah, so sci-fi, fantasy, and cyberpunk. If you're not sitting with a ton of room, and not everybody has a huge house where they can store loads of stuff or a shed worth of room.
I don't have either of those things.
The fact that these give you really nice tables worth of terrain, but then go back down into a box about the size of a board game, sort of one of the big chunky board games these days.
To go back on a Kallax.
Yeah. It may be a bit deep for the Kallax.
I bet this stuff smells great too.
Oh yeah, it's got the lovely card smell.
Card and print mixed together.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I have to find one thing for...
That's the true acid.
Find one thing. Look, I just like to point out all of the fantasy miniatures are on proper 20mm square bases like God intended.
Glorious.
Just saying. And at one point, there's a white lion fighting a wraith and some skellies in a room, and he's going to get munched.
He like a castle.
The castle, which we had out there, was the... it comes in 2 flavors, regular and absolutely totaled by medium of exploded things. So...
I like the woods as well. I think the woods look great.
Yeah.
I think they're nice.
Do these guys have any dungeony looking stuff? Oh, let's see that you could take these rooms and build a dungeon out of that.
Yeah.
Look, he is so dead. He'll take out the 3 skeletons, but he does not have a magic weapon, so he can't hurt that.
Yeah.
That will just do him up like a kipper. I see death touching your future, mate. And your friends on the horses are galloping away. That's where that's happening. So yeah.
Run away.
Yeah, the range is really nice, and I like how they've incorporated the internal flooring so you can play inside the fantasy buildings, which is something really the sci-fi ones didn't. And I imagine they'll probably brought that across to the cyberpunk as well, because that's a more recent addition.
Yeah.
Is it the Wofon people that do the 2D standee armies?
Yes.
Do they do any fantasy stuff?
Yes.
Then you could go totally 2-dimensional then.
Yes.
Could do. You two could be, well, technically they do have width.
You could be in Flatland.
It's not like Flatland. I was about to say that.
Flat-ish land.
Flat-ish land. Oh, we're all going to go all philosophers. Who was it? Abbott? Wasn't he the philosopher who postulated Flatland? Comment below. Win a prize.
If you know.
He was on acid, you know.
I imagine he wasn't. Right, that is Acid House terrain. Like I say, really nice if you're looking to fill a table very quickly and not have to worry about storing it forever and a day, because you can just slide it onto your bed, fill your boots. Right, I think it's time for some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we're back for the news. We're only a week into January, and already there's been some massive news. Massive. From 343 Industries, I believe, and Mantic.
Yeah, so this one sort of came out of the blue. I don't think anyone saw this one coming.
No.
Mantic Games have expanded their licensing side of things, and they are working, as you say, with 343 Industries, who are the folks that now develop and design Halo, the Halo games.
What do you mean now? They've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
yes,
come on.
They've been making Halo crap for years.
It used to be Bungie as well, obviously. But yes, 343 and Mantic are going to be working together on a new Halo miniatures game. The details are scant at the moment, but
details. There's that one image, as far as I can tell.
Oh well, there's an image and there was a press release that went with it with words.
But nobody reads any words. I just look at the pictures.
Exactly, pretty pictures.
In that case, while he's telling us about this, I'll scroll through some pretty pictures.
Yay!
So the idea is that they're going to be doing a straight to retail game in September. So no Kickstarters or around this one, which is kind of cool. It's going to be.
It has to be that way though, because of the licensing. Yes. They would never license anything to go to Kickstarter.
Well, I'll talk to Sigmar. But yes,
I'd rather not.
This is going to be a 40mm scale game. where you're going to be playing as Spartans, and the idea is that it's focused around the multiplayer side of the Halo.
How do you know
games.
that? Is that actually in the press release?
Yes,
that it
yes.
says?
in the thing that I read.
In the word bit.
Where is the word bit? Do we have the word bit?
It's in my article.
There.
There we go. So the idea from what Ronnie and everyone has been talking about is that they're going to be diving into, as I say, a multiplayer styled game where you'll be taking on the role of teams of Spartans, fighting it out to kind of mirror the multiplayer games that we would have played on consoles and PC and stuff like that. I assume that means we're going to get lots of fun little game modes and things. So we'll do things like, your free-for-all death matches, your oddballs, your King of the Hill, all that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the miniatures, how customizable they'll be. Maybe they'll be maybe they'll be their classic one-piece plastics. I'd imagine that might be the route they'll go down, like they've done in the past. But we shall see.
Board gamey type people, yeah.
Yeah,
I hadn't even thought about the possibility of multi-part, but the fact that they're going to go for a 40mm multiplayer deathmatch or MOBA, whatever it is they call, whatever you kids call these things. All of a sudden, now I'm thinking, actually, a hard plastic sprue with multi-part components on it. But then
change the weapons, change the armor. All that
but then at that point, you alienate board gamers who are the worst people. Don't know how to use polystyrene cement and cutters.
Yeah.
It feels weird, a Halo game, and it's all about the multiplayer.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It feels like everything's getting Fortnited to death, and everything has to be multiplayer. Because, like in the video games industry at the minute, if something doesn't have the most massive multiplayer ever, everyone says, "Oh, it's a failure." No, it's not. Look at that game there. Nobody's playing it. It's because it's a campaign game, and everybody's finished the campaign. That's why nobody's playing it.
They've had their fun, and it's done.
I mean, I'll definitely give it a whirl. You think it's going to be based on like Dead Zone type rules?
Well, the interesting, like Ronnie talks about the idea of like moving between cover and sort of that kind of thing. Maybe they'll use some of the stuff from Dead Zone, kind of like that cube style mentality to how the board's set up and things, taking some of those mechanics, as you say, and sort of playing around with that.
I mean, as far as an easy access point for non-board game or tabletop game people go to introduce them, the fact that Dead Zone doesn't require measuring and fiddly. You know, it's very black and white. There's no, is he in cover? Is he not? Or I can see the tip of his, but it's just like, can you see all of the model? Yeah.
But sure, that's like that.
Bam,
Forget it. Don't put it on the grid system. There needs to be loads of ambiguity. What the heck?
Ambiguity.
Why can I not say this word?
I've no
ambiguity as to whether you're in cover or not, because that would best replicate the video game at the minute. You know, I'm behind a wall. I got shot. Flipping desync. There has to be a desync card in it. And you play the desync card. I gotcha. I was behind a wall. Desync card.
play the interrupt where it's just the trash talking in the lobby before the game.
Yeah, because Halo Infinite has just been eating up my video gaming time for like the last 2 years. I was in a clan for a little while there, boys. In a Halo clan.
Oh.
For about 6, 7, maybe 9 months.
Wow.
But it recently imploded because they were giving us too much homework to do. You had to go to training 3 times a week. That was 9 hours of training a week. I was like, nobody can hack this. And then you had to have a monthly report where you sat down with your leader and he would go over your strategies and what you wanted to develop for the next month and the games that you'd logged and your scores and stuff like this. That was such a pain in the arse.
This sounds like people who really want to be being paid £1 million for playing esports and weren't at that level.
Exactly. And then you'd finish your game and then the commander would come in and tell you how shite you'd done for the whole match. It's like,
sounds like too much work to be fun.
At least I can go and have fun playing Halo now with miniatures and get away from people. People are horrible.
Well, this seems like the prime game for you then. Like, when I saw this pop up, I immediately did think, "Oh, Lloyd might want to have a pop at this."
Yeah,
you are quite a Halo fan.
The
you played it as
thing.
well, Shay, as well.
I like Halo. Yeah. Big fan of Halo. Back in the day,
he's run off.
He's gone.
Well,
interestingly,
talking
about the idea of back in the
did
day,
he just throw?
That's actually quite an interesting point because obviously I imagine they're going to theme this around Infinite and the new Just watch out for some falling samurai. And I imagine they're going to base this
It's not
around
the painted
Infinite
ones.
and the new game. But it would be interesting to see if they go back in the past, do some stuff around Reach, maybe bring in the elites. I'd love to see the elites as another playable character. That could be cool.
The best thing about this is no more of this spaceship stuff.
That's like a prize relic you have just thrown on the floor.
Get to the core of the game. I do like that because I remember when. Hold on, I'll pick this up again.
Fleet battles.
I remember when these guys was making this game, right?
Spartan, yeah.
They came over. They'd done this game. It was interesting enough. It was fun enough, but it missed the core thing of Halo, which is having a Spartan run around kicking ass. Mm-hmm. You had a Spartan in this, but I think he was just like a chit that you moved about or something. Can't remember exactly. I think you just get into spaceship. You're just like, nah, that's not the way to go. I think we have images of the spaceship game.
There's 3 Spartans there.
Oh, we haven't got to that though.
Run about the floor.
Bring up the spaceship game.
Your mistake was going into space. Never go into space.
There you go. There's the spaceship game. Nice minis though.
Yeah, they were very
what they did make was nice, but I think they missed the core of it. So then when they moved over to the 15 mil stuff that Jerry just flashed in our face. Flash it again there, Jerry.
Oh man, I'm on the ships now.
Ah, well, we've done the ships now.
That'd be perfect for 1 billion suns.
Well, that's why I have the box. Then they moved on to this 15 mil stuff, which was exciting enough. But then they came over to the studio and they brought over these massive versions of the minis, like big 3-ups. I think they were even bigger than 3-ups. And we all looked at them and went, that's what you should be doing. You should be doing these big minis and doing like a skirmish game, not this mass battle game. Yeah. Because Halo is it's a skirmish after skirmish after skirmish after skirmish if you play the video game.
It's 1 or 2 heroes running through hundreds of chaff, punching everything in the face.
It's only this if you play Halo Wars.
Yeah.
Yes.
1 or 2. So at the time we were looking at going, we think you're missing the trick of Halo and what people recognize as Halo. And so what Mantic are doing here feels like the first step. If it is based on the multiplayer, I can then see them expanding it out into campaign missions once they start releasing. Let's say they only do Spartans to begin with. And then after that, then they start releasing Covenant. And then after that, they start releasing Brutes and then Forerunners and stuff like this. And then actually introducing campaign missions that you and your Spartan team go and kick ass in 40 mil glory.
Similar way to The Walking Dead, which was based in seasons that every new season went to the next comic essentially and added the new characters or whatever in. The fact that this plays in seasons as well makes perfect sense to go, here's your first.
That's exactly what they'll call it.
And then blah, blah, blah. And then you can move on and they could mirror the game in some respects.
How they're going to squeeze a battle pass into it, though, that's the question. How are we going to get loot drops and battle passes and microtransactions into this?
Ronnie will come around to your house and drop a box through the letterbox.
Ronnie, when you're next talking to the 343 guys, tell them to drop all this free play shite and go back to actually having a $60 game.
They just need to tie in Mantic points to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Mantic points.
That's how they do it.
And then once you bought enough of those, then you can try and trade them in for a bigger thing. It'd be fascinating to see where it goes, though.
Yeah, it will be exciting because they've got like plenty of lore to dive into with Halo if they start doing the whole season thing. Right, one season could be like, I think you mentioned it. Did you mention Ball of Reach and stuff there?
Yeah, Reach and all the other games that they've done.
Yeah, there's like 18 novels for Halo, for example. They could dip into all sorts of stuff, and all of it is considered canon, apparently, except if the video game overrides it, in which case then the video game is canon.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing it.
I think
like Star Wars.
I think what they've done. I think they're doing something cool with the 40 mil miniatures, though, because what I think they're doing here, what I think they're doing is trying to overlap into the sort of people who collect figurine doll type stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they do to go down the like One Piece route as them being like a single figure at 40 mil.
But did they say, is this going to be some sort of plasticky ABS thing?
They've
or
not said anything to do with that, unfortunately.
The first real detail we'll get will be in March. Mm-hmm. And then in April, he'll be at Salute and I'll be at Salute. And I'm bigger than Ronnie. I'm pretty certain I can run faster. So we'll find out more detail in April.
But Ronnie can hide. If he takes his glasses off, you don't recognize him anymore. He had a Facebook post up there before Christmas without his glasses. And I was, who the heck is this guy claiming to be Ronnie? It's real Clark Kent type stuff.
There's one thing though. Oh, if I grab that. because I've seen a lot of people talking about the fact it's 40 mil and going, blah, 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 40 mil, that's outrageous. I want to be able to use my terrain. Right.
think you could.
This is a 40 mil Marvel Crisis Protocol, the comic book version of Star Wars Crisis Protocol.
To be fair, though, it looks tiny with you behind it. We can't use you for a perspective.
No, but here is a 28 mil model of Sean Connery from a different company. You know,
so they could just repackage their Dead Zone terrain.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, I think you can quite happily just get away with using the Dead Zone terrain.
I think you'd
and
be
things
fine.
like that.
People have been playing, as you say, people have been playing Crisis Protocol, people have been playing Batman, they've been playing Shatterpoint, all these games, and they're fine. I'm fairly sure this is going to work just...
I think that there's an idea people have in their head that we play a lot of 28 mil games. Most manufacturers haven't produced anything in 28 mil in over a decade.
It's all like 32, 35
it's
at this
all
point.
pushed up in size. And every time I see the word heroic, then they've added another 10 mil to it.
I love it. I love it because they've gone to Games Workshop. Scale creep. We'll show you scale creep.
Get ahead of the curve.
Imagine I'm holding a finger. There we go. We'll show you scale creep. I'm not actually doing it, but there you go. I think I can get away with that. This is true scale creep, but I think it'll be cool.
Just do that. Who knows what was happening behind that hand? Yeah. Was it up or was it down? Nobody will know. But yeah, like I say, interesting. Fascinating to see where they go, and totally out of left field because I don't think anybody saw that one coming. There hadn't even been rumors that they were asking anyone or talking about doing anything potentially.
The last big thing we knew about them was Worms, and I thought that was
Worms.
Good,
and then after Worms, it was like, oh, by the way, we're getting The Walking Dead back again. Everybody's going, well, that's the big licensing story for Mantic for 2024. It's like, oh, apparently not.
They're having fun with the licensing.
Other things.
Everyone's like, oh, I hope it doesn't go the way of Spartan Games and ruin the company. And I was like, no.
I think Mantic are fairly nailed on with enough.
The difference here is
with what they can do.
Yeah, the difference here is Mantic now have experience doing IP sign-ups, and they're very much they're into miniatures battles, whereas Spartan was very much ship battles and ground tank battles and stuff like that. Rather than being mainly focused on miniature battles.
I'd also say they came in at a bad point, because they came in after Halo had died down, whereas subsequently Halo has not only had multiple new releases, but they now have a
TV show,
an active, set of games. I'm ignoring the TV show because I've not seen it, and from all I've heard, it's terrible. But
season 2's coming out, and I haven't watched any because I heard it was terrible as well.
But the fact that they have the online game that's because it's a multiplayer battle game, it's evergreen essentially. And
people would argue though, they would say, "Oh, but look at the player numbers. Look at the player numbers. Halo is nothing."
I don't.
Yeah, the video game might be nothing, but the IP is still something.
Yeah. But it's no longer relegated to the past. Anyway, yeah.
And the thing is, you can do something with Halo because you can recognize Spartans. Yeah. You can't go off and do, let's do Fortnite the video game, because what do you make miniature wise? Everybody looks weird.
I'm getting ahead of the game for my 28mm version with my
there you go
GCPS from Mantic, which is not a Halo at all.
Oh my god! I suddenly have dreams of ODST. Oh, that's good.
And the characters are fun in Halo.
Yeah, they are.
You've got your little grunts with their double nades trying to nade you to death. I love that. And you've got brutes that throw them at you.
Yeah.
Like in the future, if they introduce brutes and grunts, I can see a brute throwing a grunt at you, which has double plasma nades ready to kick your ass.
Yes.
I can see all that training really paid off with you. You've got all the tactics down. Step 1, get 2.
I got crouch jumping down. I got everything on the go. I got slideys down. I got grav slides.
All the tech.
This has been an education.
My strafe is unbelievable.
I wasn't aware it was so much beyond the Master Chef. It's just like
it's a different game these days, boys. It's so much faster.
I'll be looking for a 1v1 after this, Lloyd.
Yeah. What?
I'll be looking for a 1v1.
I'll kick your ass.
Okay.
Right. On that bombshell, shall we move on and see what else is happening in the wonderful world of the news?
We shall. Yeah. So another big release that another big pre-order that came out recently has been for the Old World and stuff, and a lot of people have looked at the prices and gone, how much? And so there are a lot of folks out there who are providing some nice alternatives. One set of alternatives comes from the folks at Wargames Atlantic, who have been working on this set for a while anyway, but it is now out there in the world for you to get your hands on. Well, pre-order anyway. So this is the Skeleton, Cavalry, and Chariots set. Comes with enough bits and pieces for you to make a good selection of mounted offerings for your armies of the undead, be they in the sand or fighting on the Greek peninsula or anything like that.
Nobody wants the sand.
So yes, you get a whole bunch of stuff in the kit. You get the 10 horses, the 2 chariots, and then a whole bunch of other bits and pieces for making both foot and mounted skeletons. There are lots of different ways that you can actually assemble this set. So they've done it in such a way that you can have all horses, a couple of chariots, just one chariot with lots of other horses, lots of additional foot troops, no foot troops, whichever way you want to go with it. And obviously this then blends really nicely with the other infantry set that they've done for the skeletons as well. And of course you could also bring in lots of other bits and pieces from their 3D printing catalog if you wanted to. And it should all come together to create a really nice undead force on the table.
I love the way they've stuck pyramids in the background there.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's take these Greeks and stick pyramids behind them.
Exactly.
They're on tour.
Yeah.
This is part of the Ptolemaic Empire. So it all works.
The aesthetic is similar though. So
Yes.
it's got a Tim King sort of aesthetic to it.
Yeah. Obviously, their arms and armor is very much that kind of like Bronze Age Greek, Jason and the Argonaut style. But there's enough bits and pieces on the sprues and the different weapons that you could kind of make them feel slightly more Kembrian if you wanted to, of course.
I'd say sod that. Just run them as full on Greek.
Well, you could do as well. Yeah.
Just stand out and be different.
Yeah.
And walk into a Games Workshop store and then have to leave.
The chariot set is actually one that they've done for their sort of ancient era stuff, so it can actually be folded into stuff like they're going to be working on their Trojans in the future as well. Which I remember being like a lovely idea that they had before they suddenly went off on a huge growth spurt of different 3D kits and everything else in between.
I blame Charlie for destroying
Trojans, Trojan skeletons.
Yeah.
Well, you could do Trojans, but these are Trojan humans.
You could also have Trojan humans, yes.
So you can do your Trojan War stuff. Yeah. This I absolutely
so you can do the whole Jason and Argonaut thing.
Yeah.
I see. Brain caught up there. Still thinking about kicking Shay's ass in Halo there.
Yeah. So essentially you're going to get 2 chariot sprues and then 5 of these sprues.
Yes.
And then you can then divvy it up whatever way you want. Mm-hmm. So I suppose if you do your 2 chariots, you're losing 4, which will leave you 6.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to obviously knock away some of the infantry then. Mm-hmm. So your maximum number is 25 infantry or maximum 10 horse or maximum 2 chariots, and then it's a sliding scale. That's not terrible these days considering how much goes into a box set these days.
Very much so.
It does remind me of my skeleton army box from GW from the Mists of Time. All those at home can have a drink. But it was a box that contained 1 chariot, 8 horsemen, and 20. I want to say it was 20 infantry, and it was similar sort of thing. They went on the bases, or they would also go on the back of the horses. But yeah. Just seeing somebody doing a multi-unit box fills me with glee. So much glee. Yeah. I really like the Greek aesthetic on them as well.
Yeah, the design's great. I like the look of the skeletal horses. Can sometimes look really goofy. I mean, you can't get away from that in most cases with skeleton horses, but I think these look good. Yeah, I think they've done a really nice job on these. And going to be great for those people creating something fantastical in a mythological setting, and maybe dropping them into Warhammer.
So you can make 15 infantry. You can do all of that. Yeah.
There's nothing unusual in the box they didn't die with.
No, there's no bat wings.
They didn't die as flipping, what are they, Greeks, and then suddenly wake up as vampires.
Yeah. It's surprising you brought that up because it's rare that you mention your hatred of undead blacksmiths.
I don't mention it enough.
And their urge to redecorate everybody's armor while they're dead.
That's it. You get a bat wing. What? You get a bat wing. What? You get bat foreskin. What?
That's a really.
Oh no,
nice
that's the wrong thing.
That's going to be interesting when they start doing biblical stuff as well.
Yeah, very much so.
So you can have your ancient Egyptians.
You can see how long ago they planned that chariot.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
And then he got distracted by, once again, Charlie, I assume.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh, Charlie, just the worst.
Well, then, in other words, thanks to Games Workshop for G'ing them up, getting it released.
Yeah.
Well,
the GGs. Yeah. So.
This is D20 approved, but don't worry, you can use a dice that isn't as swingy as well.
But yeah, looks really good fun.
Average 2D10 approval.
Yeah, see what you think. Moving on from that, we have some more fantasy news. The folks at Bellum Games have outlined their plans for organized play in 2024. They showed off a whole range of different kits that you'll be able to pick up if you're a store or a club, or just individuals looking to have some fun with your friends, building up interesting tournaments and stuff on the tournament scene for Conquest, be that the Last Argument Kings or First Blood. You'll be able to get yourself a couple of different sets that will allow you to play out sort of more competitive games if you want, your big point matched games where you're sort of vying for the top spot amongst your community and all that good stuff. There's even a wooden spoon in the mix as well.
Oh, that's class.
So yes, they've got all that stuff. They've also done like a narrative set as well, which I think is really cool. So if you're somebody who's not necessarily focused on the idea of it being so much an uber competitive side of things, you can dive in, you can explore the kind of lore, and you can play out larger campaigns in that front if you wanted to. You get that really nice map of the continent as well to dive into, which I think is really nice, the world, and have some fun on that front with lots of other different bits and pieces there too, which I think is quite nice. So yeah, very good.
They're very fancy. I like that. Well, I like both of the packs, to be fair, but I like the idea of maybe if you're just starting to get into Conquest in a store or a club or with friends or whatever, you could theoretically start with a narrative, do a slow grow, do your map-based campaign, add and expand your forces, and then halfway through the year, whenever you've got your Path of Conquest all bent up painted like me, then you could go, right, well then we can run a tournament and play the full 2,000 point games or whatever they happen to be. Yeah, he is spanking gorgeous. Yeah, have they said who he is yet? I assume he's one of the Sorcerer Kings.
Yes. So these are some kind of preview images of what's coming up later that you can win if you're part of these sort of store competitions and organized play. So it's a little kind of sneaky peek as to what's coming down the line for the various kingdoms and factions and stuff that you'll find in Ea. For the world of Conquest. For those people who have maybe not dipped their toe into Conquest, they're also doing a fun paint and take set for stores and clubs as well. So this will come with a selection of different characters that you'll be able to pick up and just sort of sit down and paint with your friends. And if you like the look of the models, 35mm ones, you'll be able to take one away and maybe use that as the basis for your next 100 Kingdoms force on the tabletop.
It's a really nice 100 Kingdoms miniature.
It is. It's a lovely sort of female noble, I believe. Yeah.
Oh man, cool. Hazy boy, you saying this? Apparently your 100 Kingdoms aren't finished yet, mate. Just saying.
The other big thing about this as well is that this is all part of organized play, and if you do well and you sort of rise through the ranks in various tournaments, they're going to be holding a huge sort of big grand final on the Greek island, and I hope I get this right, Chios, I think it's called, which is going to be, as I say, taking place on the beach with a barbecue and all sorts of good fun. So if you're interested in taking part and maybe enjoying a little bit of sun at the same time, you can get rise through the ranks effectively, try and claim those number one spots amongst your friends and enemies.
Tournaments. Wow.
Yes. So very cool stuff on that.
Tournament.
You could use your clever, cheaty city states to beat me again. I feel like tournaments.
I keep saying tournaments. Such a good way to grow your game. Actually, now that I think about it, we missed out in the whole Halo thing. If they're going down that multiplayer thing, they maybe have tournaments in mind as a way of growing that game.
Also, it seems like a prime thing to have organized play, very much so. Cool stuff. Stepping from the fantastical to the historical,
Oh,
We have some fun stuff that was previewed by the team at Victrix. I'm fairly sure this is going to be the buying guide for both Jerry and Lloyd for the next 6 months, maybe.
I don't know.
Give
what
it to
you
me.
mean.
Come on, bring it up. Bring it up. Skint me.
So Victrix have got a lot of plans coming up.
I'm not
The
looking.
first one
Tell
was
me
the
when you're done.
announcement of their Greek
Oh, you want to
hoplites.
look there? You want to?
No.
So
You should.
you may remember towards the end of last year, they did a selection of Greek hoplite heads
yeah.
to go with various
old-
kits that you had out
Yeah.
there.
The old bodies and stuff, because their
Mhm.
Greeks are one of the earliest kits that they've released
Mhm.
after Napoleonics.
And this was them thinking to themselves, well, we've designed the heads. Why don't we just do the rest?
Lovely.
And that's exactly what they've done. And they're going to be doing a big plastic set of those, which is going to be coming out in the near future, which is very nice indeed. Those are kind of aiming to be out towards the end of January, the beginning of February. So not too long to wait on that front.
Here, you could have these guys as your living guys fighting the skellies that we looked
easily.
at.
They'd be perfect for it. Very
It's-
much so.
Is this the man who killed your brother? No, he was taller. How about now?
Oh dear. As moving forward through history to the medieval period,
Yes.
we also have this set, which was also teased last year. This is the Medieval Knights kit.
These are getting bought. I know these are getting bought.
Yeah. So this is
Never
the-
getting painted, but they're getting bought.
Of course, of course. This is a set of 6 horses and riders that will come with lots of different helmet and shield variants that can be used to represent different periods and European kingdoms, depending on where you want to go with it. Obviously, it's a 28mm set, so you can do some customization
And
regardless. Anyway,
do you know what's good about this? Is the Victrix stuff's a little bit larger.
it is a little bit.
So you might be able to get your, like, some Games Workshop-y love out of this too.
Oh, look, Bretonian.
Bretonians.
Easily done.
Yep. Not tricky.
No particular date given for them, but they should be coming out fairly soon on their schedule. I know they've been in the works for a little while, those ones, but yeah, very cool. Stepping back to the Dark Ages.
Here we go. Here we go. Here's the best bit. Yeah. Get ready to change your pants.
I'm going to skip.
Are you going to skip them?
No, you can't do that.
I can't bring my. They're filth. You know
Come
they're
on,
filth.
bring it up. Give it to me.
So yes,
Oh yeah.
the Russ are going to be dropping with a huge selection of different options for you to build their kits, as tends to be the way with the Victrix stuff.
This is gonna be like one of them 40 quid, 60 quid sets that just has stack loads in it.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing them obviously as Rust, but you could use them to represent Slavs or your Varangians if you wanted to go down the Byzantine route, if you wanted to go in that direction.
Good looking man.
The sculpting is basically finished on these apparently, and they should be arriving later this month. So keep an eye out for that. Keep your purse at the ready.
I don't have time to play Halo with you. Too busy.
Lloyd has to spend too much time buying these sets.
It's going to come with multiple shields. So
And the good thing is there's finally a good supply of Rus that you can get here from the UK rather than have to get it from Russia.
Exactly.
Try to get from miniatures from Russia now.
Who would have thought? Sticking with the Dark Age theme, we also are sort of looking back a little bit further in time. So we also have the early Saxon warriors. So if you're looking to do something a little bit more Beowulfian, perhaps these could be a really nice option for you there. Great, obviously, for sort of doing all sorts of things between Geats and Danes and everything on that front. Invasions of Britain.
Throw them up against the late Romans, late Romano-British that they've done as well.
Look at that! Look at the pelts on that.
Oh, good pelts, really nice helmet designs. Obviously, the one there that's mirrored off the one from Sutton Hoo. Redwald's helmet.
Gorgeous.
Who?
Redwald's helmet. That's his. Yeah.
Who?
He's doing a Sutton Hoo joke.
Who?
Yeah, how did you not get that?
What Sutton Who?
Oh my god! It's just as well you're 12.
It's a ship burial, which is amazing. But yeah,
he doesn't do it for a few years in school yet.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's not as impressive as the giant Viking turd, though.
Oh no,
from Jorvik.
Do you know about the world's biggest turd?
We don't know if it's the world's biggest, but
apparently
there's a preserved one.
It's the world's biggest preserved one. Let's put it that way. It's not the biggest one it's ever been, but it's this one we have proof of.
let's.
It's in the Jorvik Viking Center.
That's it.
Yeah.
I had to build a new wing just to house it.
If you're moving it into sort of fighting in the Middle East and stuff like that, maybe you're going off on crusades. There's also going to be some new sets coming out for the Islamic infantry. They want to try and use these to match up quite nicely with some of the medieval stuff, as you can see there. But with a lot of stuff from this kind of corner of the world, you can tend to float a little bit between different periods with these. Yeah. I'd say they're going to be fairly good for people doing some kit bashing and all sorts of different things with them. Love the really nice details on the tunics, not to make them too flat or anything like that. So those should work very, very well with the likes of contrast, I would think. Some really nice high poppy contrast colors.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh yeah, go full dolly mixture on them.
Exactly.
All the colors. They're really sweet. I don't need any more. Do I need any more?
That's why they're called dolly mixtures. Really sweet.
Yes. And lastly, when it comes to kind of the sort of ancient history side of things, we also have the Roman bolt shooter, or the Scorpion, I believe it was.
Scorpion, yeah.
That you can drop into your games. They're going to be coming out with this sort of fairly soon, actually. I believe this is going to be another January release. So if you're looking to populate your Roman army with a couple more bits of artillery for sticking Celts to trees.
Technically, I don't need any more. They had one per century was the standard loadout. So if you're making multiple centuries,
there
then
you go.
That's the sort of thing you should be aiming for. One for every 80.
It will come with the crew, spare bolts and things for the Scorpion, defensive stakes and all sorts of things as well. So yeah, very nice little set, that one. But I'm sure a lot of people will pick it up. Sticking with Victrix, but moving on a little bit, there was also a very nice little teaser as well.
These look sweet.
Yeah, they're going to be expanding their World War II collection, which is already vast in 12 mil, and they're going to be doing the US Airborne now in 12 mil, which I think is fantastic. Yeah.
The only thing that would make this better is if they did it in 13.5 mil instead.
No, that's not how that would be better.
It would be better. It'd be amazing.
This is an actual scale, so yes. But yes, they're going to be doing them in 12 mil, but they did put a little tiny teaser at the end which said if you are interested in 28 mil versions of these, they might be working on them as
13.5 mil. Give us that. I went onto their Facebook and I said, give me TT 120 versions.
Did they block you?
No, they didn't reply. Let's put it that way. These would be amazing for I have the 13.5 mil minis that Shay got for Christmas. If you haven't watched the XLBS, he got some, the Napoleonics, and they were perfect. They were perfect for TT 120.
Well, there you go.
So come on, Warlord. Get your hoof and gear. Go and get married up with flipping Hornsby. And get your, what is it they call them? 13.5 mil. They call them what?
Annoying scale.
No, perfect scale.
Epic.
They could release yet another alternative scale.
Don't.
For World War II. It'd be amazing.
For the love of God.
It'd be the right scale too. I like these, but they're not quite the right scale for me.
I wonder if the hint about the 28 is going to be CO cast.
Possibly. They did flirt with it.
They did a small batch run of some models at the end of last year for people to get and test and have a play around with and see what they thought of 28 mil World War II done.
We don't need any more 28 mil World War II. We've got loads of it. We need TT 120 World War II.
That's a very small pool of buyers. Right now it consists of
But I'm in that pool.
No, but you are that pool. There is nothing else beyond that. I mean, you're going to have to buy an awful lot of stuff to keep them in business.
Buy at least 2 boxes. At least.
Wow. You still might be in heart.
Right. But yes, cool stuff there on the Victrix front, sort of pointing towards what they're going to be doing throughout 2024. Seems very awesome. As I say, a buyer's guide, both Jerry and Boyd. So
I don't know what you mean.
It was all going sweet until we got to the wee mens, the tiniest wee mens. If only they were like 1 mil taller.
1.5 mil taller.
1.5 mil.
Sticking with World War II, but moving games. We're going to be looking at some stuff that's coming out from Osprey. They have been teasing quite a few bits and pieces going into 2024, but there was 2 that I really wanted to highlight because they kind of like stuck in my mind as these seem excellent. The first of these is a new cooperative narrative board game that they're working on called War Story Occupied France. So this has been designed by Dave Neal and David Thompson. David Thompson will be a familiar name to those people who have dived into Undaunted in the past. And Dave Neal has worked on a whole bunch of kind of escape room style games as well over the last couple of years. This is kind of marrying the two together from what we can gather. You can either play it by yourself, or you can play it with up to 5 other players. So you can go all the way up to 6. And the idea is that you're going to be taking on the role of allied help or the resistance fighters who are heading into occupied France to take out a particular German officer and save the resistance from being destroyed by the German army.
Is that a real gun? Would that be a real... How would you hide something as long as that?
Down your pants.
The reason it's that long is that long part of the barrel is like 25 baffled washer longs, so it's a silencer. So it was called like a well rod.
Yeah. So and it makes a very satisfying thunk.
Yeah, it's probably whenever you see a silencer being used, and they never sound like that. That one did.
So this is built with the silencer in it. There's no non-silencer version.
Yeah,
if you've played Sniper Elite,
I have not.
Yes. Shoot Hitler in the balls. But anyway, moving away from that.
It's getting almost to Joker level if they'd added a little bit more to the barrel.
Yeah, very true. And then a flag will come out the end. But yes, this seems to be marrying together narrative elements. So you'll be doing storytelling things. You'll be sort of going through kind of like escape, exit style game stuff on the tabletop. You'll be doing sort of non-combat encounters. But then they've also thrown in the mix the idea of tactical encounter maps, which kind of takes me in that kind of Undaunted direction. Now, we don't necessarily know too much more about this, but because of the names involved, that's kind of where people are marrying those ideas together. I'm sure we'll see a little bit more about this from Osprey in the near future. They're always pretty good with their previews, and I would love to get a look at this one. Seems very, very cool indeed.
I'm curious to see whether or not we get any more random Morse code as well. Did you translate the Morse code on the emails that Benji sent through?
No.
I did, because I'm sad like that.
Was it like Little Orphan Annie Morse code?
No, proper Morse code.
Trying you to drink Ovaltine tea?
No. This one was activating Magpie. So whether or not they add in, so you're saying about the possibility of the escape room sort of elements,
puzzles and stuff like that.
Puzzles and things like that may play a part, because there was
awesome.
There were lots of random Morse code on that page. I'm going, no, I must go and translate this now. In the same way I did with Slonia.
Like an ARG.
So whenever Warlord released Slonia, and they had Ohm script at the top of every page.
Oh yes,
and I discovered that they'd spelt it wrong. Anyway,
yeah. The second game that I wanted to talk about from Osprey comes from the creator of Zona Alpha, which is a big game that people really enjoy. This one's called When Nightmares Come. So this is a miniatures game rather than it being a board game. And it is a solo/cooperative supernatural horror skirmish investigation game. You're going to be taking on the role of members of the Night Watch, who are kind of hunters and occultists, regular mortals, wizards, and everything else in between, who have ganged together to watch over the modern city streets and the strange things that go bump in the night, as you can see there in the background.
This is just Miami aliens.
Yes, he's been on the...
This is the 10-foot aliens from Miami, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I've never visited.
If you're someone
it's been all over the news, Terry. You've been missing out. There's been 10-foot aliens walking around a mall in Miami, and hundreds of police had to go to sort them out.
Yeah.
Jumping in and out of portals and all sorts of stuff they wear.
But not swimming in pro bass pools. We don't do that. Anyway, if you're a fan of things like the Dresden Files and stuff, this seems like the game that's very much focused around you. It's got role playing and storytelling elements built into it. There's going to be non-combat encounters thrown into the mix as well. It feels like a really cool evolution of kind of stuff that we've seen for Rangers of Shadow Deep and the Silver Bayonet and things like that, and kind of fusing that with the modern day just seems like a really fun idea, especially since you've got lots of creators out there who are doing amazing miniatures that kind of fit this vibe. So all the stuff from Crooked Dice and things. So there seems to be a really nice kind of space for this to evolve, and I'm really interested to see what it looks like when we get to look at the mechanics and stuff like that as well. I know preview copies are floating around, so maybe get a look at that and sort of get an early look at the game and see what it's all about. But yeah, very nice.
Yeah, Zona Kona Alpha is a cracking game as well. So I wonder how much of the DNA of that will make it across, or will it be completely built from scratch? Because there's a certain amount of RPG-ishness in Zona Alpha anyway.
Very true.
So
this has got an action dice pool mechanic, or an action pool dice mechanic. So we'll see how that evolves.
More dice for me to feel to hit with. Excellent.
I've seen some amazing dice on Facebook. It was like a whole set of polyhedron dice, all with blank faces.
Oh, I've seen those as well.
You make it up as you roll.
Yes.
Well, that's 2024, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
Make it up as you go.
Nobody wants to lose these days. So instead, you define what your
roll
would have been.
That's it. We've taken the facts out of dice. Now they can be whatever they want to be.
Oh, lordy. Lorks a lordy. Right. We have a final bit of news. Save me.
Ben. We finished things off with a little bit of news from the Mortal Realms. The Warhammer Age of Sigmar. The old world hasn't totally taken over just yet, or retaken over, I suppose. So Games
re-emerged.
Yes, we assume that be the rumors true that Age of Sigmar, the 4th edition, is going to be coming out late this year. It kind of fits with their cycle of stuff, and to match with that, it looks like they're going to be sort of taking their boxed sets in a similar direction to what we had with Warhammer 40,000. So with 10th edition and the roll around of that, we got the Combat Patrol game mode, which was a kind of a set of armies that were designed for all the different factions that were equally balanced with their own slightly tweaked set of rules that you could just play basically out of the box. It feels like this is what this set is going to be doing. So Spearhead is the new style of box that they've been talking about. There has been Start Collecting in the past. There has been Vanguard. This is the new one called Spearhead. They've done one for the Stormcast Eternals. They're going to be doing one for other factions as well, as you might have imagined. And it comes with a set of models in the box that they say is a balanced set of, a balanced army, a balanced starting force for you to start playing the game with. This one will include the Stormstrike Chariot that you see at the top there, alongside a set of the Vanquishers, which are the fellows.
What? Chariot?
Stormstrike Chariot.
Oh, strike. I thought you said trike. I was like, there's no 3 wheels on that.
Well, you don't know what's underneath those griffins. But yeah. You also get the Annihilators in that set as well, the big beefy fellows with the hammers. And then you also get the big head honcho. You get Indrasta, the Celestial Spear, in that set as well. For all those people who have been trying to get a version of her individually, apart from the set that they have on the Games Workshop web store, maybe you'll now actually be able to buy one without having to pay through the nose. But there we go. As I say, it seems like they're going to be sort of angling this towards the Combat Patrol style of gameplay on the tabletop. I am all for that. I've really enjoyed Combat Patrol in 10th edition. I think it's a really good idea to get people involved. It's made me buy 3 armies. So there we go. It works. At least on gullible old me. Yeah. I would assume the same thing's going to be happening for Age of Sigmar. It'll just be interesting to see where they go with it and how things change throughout the next couple of months. There is going to be a big Warhammer preview next week on Thursday, Friday, I think, where they're going to be talking about stuff from the LVO. I'm sure we're going to see some sort of hints and sneaky things towards what's happening on the future there. I'm sure I'll talk about it next week. But yes, keep an eye out for that. Will I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Will we get to see? Will we get to see the unshadowed Kroot?
Maybe they have said that 40k and Kill Team are going to be popping up in this, so I could see that happening. The Tau Codex isn't far away, so yeah.
Might get your
Lloyd
Codex.
may actually be interested.
In the Codex, maybe. The rules, no.
But yeah. Interesting stuff coming on the Warhammer Age of Sigmar front there. Let me know what you think down in the comments below about sort of a Combat Patrol style game for the Mortal Realms. I think it could be quite fun. But yeah.
How will that work out for you, Shay? Starting Age of Sigmar as you are. Have you bought the rulebook yet?
No, thankfully I haven't.
Don't buy the rulebook. Just use
starting Age of Sigmar for the old world's back, baby.
I know. I started it before.
What are you even thinking about the old world for? So there's Kings of Wars, baby.
I keep telling
Lloyd's got a goblin army that he needs to foist on somebody. So
if he doesn't want it, I'll take it. It's a really good army.
It is a good army. It's getting painted. Mark my words, it'll happen.
Someone write that down.
Utter liar. I spent a productive couple of hours the other day watching The Punisher and cleaning up 120 goblins. It was good. It was good times.
There we go. Yeah.
And then I put them all in the box. Thought, someday I'll prime you. Not anytime soon, though.
One
right.
step at a time, Jerry. One step at a
Yeah,
time.
well, that's it. I will be back with these 3 clowns in just a moment to round out the show. All right, time for some ones and zeros. Kicking things off with a wangle.
Yes.
Tell me all about the wangle.
So yes, as Jerry has so amazingly illustrated there, we're diving into 3D printing is the shiz, and we're going to be looking at White Angel miniatures.
That's what I said, wangle.
Wangle, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a collection of releases that I think will be quite popular with folks, especially if they're diving into something oldie worldy with a Warhammer vibe to it, perhaps, maybe, I don't know, possibly. But yes. So they have been working on a whole host of different things. They're a fairly new little venture that's popped up on my mini factory, but they have themselves a tribes and all sorts of different things for you to get stuck into. So if you're interested in picking up sets monthly, or you just want to dive into their back catalogue, they have a whole collection of different things for you to have a look at. A lot of their collection at the moment is distinctly Elven themed. So they have both high elves and dark elves in various guises for you to go and pick up, with that slightly chunkier heroic feel to them, which I think is really nice. It mirrors very well the kind of Mon Miniaturas feel to the models, I think. So if you like the collections that they've done, that they're the Spanish company, I think these are a shoe-in to sort of sit alongside those. And there's just some really nice characters, really good troops, elite options, and everything else in between that you could print off and start folding into rank and file armies or skirmish forces, depending on which way you wanted to go with these. And yeah, as I say, lots of different bits and pieces in there for Elven fans in particular at the moment.
It's all about the stabbery there, isn't it?
Of course.
Oh, look, Lothran Seaguard.
Yes, the best Seaguard. Why just have normal spearmen?
Yeah.
Then you can pay a couple of extra points for Lothran Seaguard. So, yeah.
just be able to fire an additional rank.
Yeah.
And be able to fire, full stop, actually, to be brutally honest. Cheating scum. I'm fairly certain that's the Shadow King right there as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I know you. I've seen you before. Shadow King. Let's have a look at some of their Delph stuff.
Yeah.
What's the horsey looking stuff too? What are they riding on? Like dinosaurs, or what is that?
It depends which one you're looking at.
Down, bottom left. Sorry, bottom right. One in.
I think they're cold ones, aren't they? Yeah.
No, one in.
Oh, one in. Oh, that'll be cool. One riders. Yeah.
So you've got your sort of rich elf style Marathi things going on. Very nice indeed. Love that. Nice stuff there.
Dabbling around.
Yeah. Your dark elf chariots. Slaves of darkness chariots. Charging forward. I mean, dark elf's not copyrighted. I could say that.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's why they're not called that anymore, probably.
Yeah.
Look, with
very
actual
cool
horses on them. Don't see many of them.
I like the big spiky wheels as well.
Certainly don't see any of them in my army. So I have 5 Colt One chariots, and occasionally they hit things. A lot of the time they just sit down and start sniffing each other's backside. And you're left going, I hate psychology.
Did they have to do stupid
psychology? Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. There's nothing worse than
I forgot that. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than Cold One Knights and Cold One Chariots, because theoretically they're great in game, but in reality you never pass the psychology, and they just spend a lot of time sniffing each other.
Yeah.
I seen a cow sniffing another cow. It got well high.
See? Like that.
What?
That's why they don't move around on the battlefield much.
It was enjoying it. It went all high. It went all,
Is that why the Lumineth Realm Lords are all cow focused?
Maybe.
Makes sense. Yeah. They're all about the methane.
But yeah, as you can see, details on these, really nice, very sharp. Get your 3D printing bits and bobs right, and I'm sure these will turn out very well for your collection. So yeah, very cool. I like the... I like a lot of their character stuff. I think is really nice.
I will just refer to them as the original names because I can't be bothered with
high elves
by
and
the
dark
way.
Elves. Yeah,
not even that, because that's definitely Marathi on Dark Pegasus.
Pegasus. Yeah. So. But yeah, I think they're doing a really good job with this collection. And as I say, if you're somebody who's looking at the old world and bulking at the price of things, as you rightly should be, I think 3D printing is going to be a massive part of people's armies. Diving back into the game, or indeed just
not if they're going to Games Workshop stores, isn't?
Well, no, they're not going to. Well, yeah,
not if they're going to go to a tournament. That isn't.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to a Games Workshop officials tournament. You can go to any other tournament, and as long as you've got
of which there are far many.
Yeah,
far
and
more.
as long as you've got someone who's a decent person running the tournament, they will let you play with your armies.
Go
Only
one step further, and there are dark elves in it anyway.
Only assholes don't let you play.
I wouldn't let you play. It's
You wouldn't let people
disgraceful.
play with it. You're an asshole.
That's the worst. Don't worry, you're not allowed to play in GW stores anyway. GW stores are not for playing.
No,
They're to
it's not.
introduce people to the game and then you leave.
Yeah.
They don't want you coming in, playing, dirtying up the place.
Yeah.
There's
Very nice.
harpies.
Yeah, you got your harpies in all sorts of different ways. And obviously they're going to be a vast improvement over the old ones that I imagine Games Workshop are going to release. So because they'll be the old metal ones, I would guess.
I love the old metal ones. I was
Flipping
looking
harpies.
at mine last night, actually, because they're in a box by my feet. They're in a basement force, actually.
Oh, okay.
Harpies are well scary.
They are scary.
Yeah.
Harpies scared the crap out of my sister when she was a kid because we
I've
were
seen
watching
Jason the
this.
Argonauts.
We were watching this animation. It was like a Eastern European animation of some harpy, and we were just like, "It's the birdie woman." And my sister, she shot a brick.
Witch King, Witch King.
Yeah.
Don't go dancing in the fire. You're not
Malekith.
that good.
Yeah.
Big
You're
old
not that
Malekith.
good.
Mm.
Sucks to be him.
Classic Elven
Interesting.
archers.
Shadow Warriors.
Usually wanted to go. Yeah, I was going to say Shadow Warriors.
Yeah.
Got some nice options there. And yeah, as I say, I think the proportions and stuff that you see with the sculpts seem really well fitted to a lot of the other stuff that's out there. As I say, my miniaturist is just one, but there's loads of other creators that have been doing stuff. And for me, if you could just open that one with the lion pelt and the axes.
Yeah, the white lions. Yeah, we'll
And
do
the
in a
one-
moment.
And the mounted ones.
Yes. They've done some really good stuff that is kind of
Look.
tempting me.
Look, bats getting ready to infest their skeletons as they come out with bat wings all over them.
them. Has to be done. Has to be
Evil,
done.
evil vampire.
Yeah.
Evil vampire.
But yeah, the Lion Commander, amazing. Love that
Lion
one.
Commander. You want to see? Look at the knights. Where's Lion Commander? Core
There
Hill.
he is.
He might have
Hill.
survived if it was Core Hill in that room with the Wraith.
Exactly. Yeah.
But unfortunately, it wasn't. So that guy's
I've
dead.
always wanted to
Definitely
do
dead.
a White Lion styled army. And because, as you will have hopefully seen on the page for My Mini Factory, they do this as like a they do licenses for people to print these for you.
Mm.
So I will probably be taking a look on things like Only Games and Etsy to see if I can find someone who's doing these and maybe pick up a few and see what I think of them. So
Only Games. Mm.
Silver Helms.
Silver Helms, exactly. Yes, let's not dwell on Only Games for too long. They knew what they were doing.
He is nice. He's a bit static compared to. I want my white lines to be leaping and jumping and skipping.
Yeah,
But I suppose he's doing that. I'm a cool hero pose.
yeah, he's doing the.
He has 2 feet on rock.
2 feet on rock. Double the hero. She's
Give him
really,
extra-
she's really nice
She is good. Yeah.
as far as vampire type things go.
Oh, look, you found some models for your Basileans.
Yeah. Might have done.
Yeah.
That's all right. I've got several hordes of Elohai already. I really don't need any more.
Get a few more. Get a few
No, I
more.
don't need any more.
Basically, Conan, if Conan had wings.
No, it's Fabio.
Oh.
I'm the most beautiful man in the world.
Yeah.
Fabio.
Yeah, very cool stuff on that front, as you can see. Yeah, as I said, they also have a Tribes, and this is their releases for January. Again, themed around High Elves, of which you would have seen a few of them. This set's going to come with a whole host of more elite elements in there, so you get your kind of techless adjacent character, along things like the Swordmasters of Hoeth, your Chariots, and your Silver Helms / maybe you could use them as Dragon Princes potentially. In your
Oh, no,
army.
they're not fancy enough to be Dragon Princes.
I suppose they need the proper ornate armor, I guess.
They're
Yeah.
full on heavy barding is what they need. Full on heavy barding. No, they're Illyrian
Illyrian
Reavers.
Reavers.
Yeah.
Of course, yes.
You could definitely replace your Moo Elves for these too.
Yeah, easily.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff they worked on earlier in the process has kind of got a little bit more of a feel of the Mortal Realms. It's like they've done a larger than life Slayer that you could use in your Fire Slayer armies and things like that, which I think is quite nice. So there's no reason why you can't do a little bit of mixing and matching between different Warhammer worlds, I suppose. But yeah, or even just take them beyond that and use them for things like Grimdark Future, and not Grimdark Future, but Age of Fantasy and things like that.
Age of Fantasy.
One-page rules.
Use them Kings of War. Use them as Elven Palace Guard. Crush 2. Absolute filth.
Already better than the original Mantic Elves.
Believe how filthy they are.
Let's not mention the original Mantic Elves at all.
I like the original Mantic Elves.
Forget them.
The Twiglet ones, and I'm not meaning Twilight Elves.
Paint them brown; they look like snacks. Yeah.
Don't mind that. They look more like elves than some sort of roided out, pointy-eared fella.
How dare you?
What? They are. There's nothing svelte or elven about any of the GW style of elves.
Look how svelte he looks.
He's not svelte. He looks like he wouldn't be able to fit through the door.
That's his armor that makes him look buff.
Yeah, there's plenty of them without armor, and they all look like
his waist is tiny.
So it's not.
He's got a 1950s waist under there.
He doesn't. There's no hourglass figure on him, Sonny Jimbo.
A Captain Kirk corset holding him.
Yeah, no, that's probably more likely.
White Lion's Chariot. Nah, my God.
I get a real She-Ra vibe off this.
Yes, with the headdresses. Yeah. But yeah, make sure to check out White Angel Miniatures. Really good stuff there. If you want somebody who wants to dive into the old world and you don't want to pay Games Workshop prices, check those out. See what you think.
Wangle for the win.
Wangle for the win.
Right. We have Kickstarters. 2 of. And we're going to stick with elves.
We are. Yeah.
More.
So the first of these comes from Westfalia, and also the sculpting prowess once again of of course he backed it. You knew it. You owe me.
Oh yeah.
The sculpting prowess of Boris Wallazin, who has stepped in once again to help with the bringing these characters to life. According to Westfalia, this was a little bit of a collaboration between them and Bernhard Hennen and James Sullivan, who are the co-authors of the Elven book series. But apparently they know them more as gamers and hobbyists than they do authors. And so they worked together to bring to life some of the characters from this book series. So I'd not heard of this one, but it sounds pretty cool, actually, from having a little bit of a look at it. And if you're a fan of these fantasy novels, they've done a lot of the characters, so you're going to get your hands on the likes of Emerald and the kobold friend Gander, as well as Ulivi, Olwain, and the vicious troll, and then Mandred.
Monkey troll!
Mandred going up against the Devanter as well. So
no, wait. Monkey troll is to come. There he is. Look, monkey troll.
Monkey troll.
You need to stop shaving your apes.
As with a lot of the stuff that Westfalia do, you'll be able to pick up the miniatures individually. You can buy them in sets, depending on where you want to go with it. And they're also working on stretch goals, as you can see there as well, to add additional characters in. The campaign is already funded. Has about 2 days left on it by the time you're looking at this one. But yeah, if you're a fan of that book series and you've always wanted those characters to be brought to life, Westfalia have stepped in to do that alongside Boris's amazing sculpting work, as you can see here. And as you can see, lo and behold, Jerry did get involved. So there we go. So.
Monkey troll.
I'm also going to put a link down below to some information about the book as well. So if you are interested in the look of the characters and you want to learn more about it, you'll be able to follow that through and see what you think. So yeah.
Cool. I'm really looking. I thought I owned that because I'd seen the green for it months ago. I was like, all right, class. And then the Kickstarter started. It's like, oh, I don't own that one yet. Okay, fair enough.
So I assume that's in your pledge.
Oh, I just went send me everything. It's easier that way. There's no point messing around. Otherwise, I get confused and end up ordering the same thing 3 or 4 times in a row from them, which is why I've got so many Mandalorian-esque things kicking around.
I like this. You don't often see people lifting their skirts.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get your
dress
wet and whatever puddle in belly feel. Yeah. It takes ages to dry. It's horrible. But interesting to see where they go because, like you, I knew nothing about the books. I had a quick look, and there's a couple of sort of elven characters who aren't in this that are sort of the main characters of the Elven book, which if they don't appear as stretch goals, they may appear in the future. But they've gone on. They've done multiple books in the series, and then and spun off as well, doing solo books on each side. So really nice sculpts again, and interesting classic fantasy meets the Vikings. Is kind of the feel and aesthetic I get from some of the talk about it. So,
I like the one that's looking in the pool as if she's looking at her drunken Amazon purchases from the night before.
that is the Elven Queen. She looked at that and thought, you know what I need to do? I need to send people out of town.
It's like,
before any of this arrives, you need to go and defeat the demon. You need to go now, take everybody with you, and hopefully it'll be delivered while they're away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 3 days left. Two or 3 days, depending on what time you watch this at. Essentially, get the weekend, get in there, and if not, you'll be able to pick it up via the medium of the store afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. The last Kickstarter then, sticking with the north and the coldness.
Yeah. Ooh. So if you're a fan of the sculpting of Trey Manor, he's working on a new limited release set of metal miniatures.
Metal!
Yeah, so this, as I say, is limited release. It's not going to be available beyond the Kickstarter. It is only available through this crowdfunding process. So if you like the look of these miniatures, make sure to dive in and pick these up. It has been designed.
So what's he going to do? Destroy the molds?
Maybe they just won't exist anymore. They'll chuck them in a bin. Yeah. Well, you never know. But yes, these are going to be done in metal, as I say, and you'll be able to get yourself a wizard character called Auldwin of Ellerslie, who leads a warband of lackeys, mercenaries, vagabonds, thieves, whichever way you want to take it. If you're diving into a lot of kind of warband style games like Frostgrave or Rangers of Shadow Deep and pretty much any other skirmish game that exists out there at the moment, I think these could be a good shout for you. You come with a pre-made wizard, obviously. You just need to get yourself an apprentice, and then away you go. You've got a lovely set of miniatures there with lots of character to them, done in the same style as a lot of the rest of Trey Manor's work. So yeah.
Has they released anything to go with these, or is that like in the past?
This is what you mean. This is
like, are they scaled up to match with anything in particular, or just like, here you go, that? Because I'm looking at them thinking they might go well with the stuff from Fireforge Games, but I'm not sure what scale these are in comparison to them.
If it's anything like Trey's stuff, it's like 28, but not, if you know what I mean. No, these actually are 28, aren't they? I can't remember.
They are. I'm going to see whether or not there's the thing. I don't think there's
but are they 28 big or just 28 sort of regular heroic?
On his previous campaign, he did talk about this.
Yes.
Which unfortunately didn't get funded, which is a shame. But
do that.
Be created, and then it's the plastic one that you did last, which, as I say, didn't fund, unfortunately. But and he does a little bit of a look at the scale of the models that he tends to work with on here. So there you go. Actually, they're 32s. There you go. So he normally does them as 32, so you can use that as a kind of idea of where they'd fit.
Yeah, so that would work well with Fireforge ones, because the Fireforge imbingulated for their fantasy miniatures, didn't they?
Yes, slightly bigger. Yeah, they're slightly chunkier, aren't they? Yeah. So yeah, they'd be perfect fit for that then. There you go. You could use them alongside that. Use them as leaders for units potentially as well, and all sorts of different things. I think Lanky Jim and Ugly Jack could fit in with some of the peasants that they did.
Yeah.
Poor Ugly Jack. He's not that ugly.
He's actually got quite a good face.
He's like Ugly Bob from South Park.
Yeah.
Oh, Ugly Bob. Yeah. Why are you so ugly?
But yeah, limited release of these, a small set of miniatures in metal, that kind of 32mm scale. Make sure you dive in and pick these up, because if you don't, they will be gone. So there we go.
When they're gone, they're gone.
About 9 days left on this campaign.
You can chuck them up against his barbarians. Look at the big.
I can't wait for my barbarians to arrive. Soon.
That's all right. I've got plenty of other things to keep me going until then. So all good in the hood.
Like Dungeonlia peeps.
Yeah.
Remember, get involved. Some epic prizes.
So many.
You can save so much money on opticians' visits in the future.
Don't do that.
Win that laser.
Don't do that. Ignore that. Right.
Okay, that's us done for another week. These two have to go off and play Halo against each other. And I think the winner I'm not sure what the winner gets.
Has to print all my 3D miniatures going forward.
Are you expecting to get hammered then, Lloyd? Is this how this is going?
I'm not getting hammered. No way. I'm going to do this fully sober.
Right. We'll be back again next Friday for more of the same. But if that's too long to wait, Jesus, 7 days, then you can come join us on Sunday morning instead over on tabletop.com for the XLBS, where we'll be wittering on about hobby. Look at that. We're like twinsies with our red shirts.
Instantaneous.
That'll look fine in the edit. That won't make you look like a muppet. You can't use a zip at all. Right. We'll see you on Sunday morning or next Friday. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.